Hello, so today I need for you to practice factoring. So last class you learned how to factor trinomials by doing the X puzzle, splitting the middle, and then factor by grouping. And so on this page I need the front and back done where we're factoring. However, before we start, these big ones are going to be a pain to factor. There's another way to do those. And so you can cross out number 7 and number 8. So before we even start, cross out 7 and cross out 8. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple with you, and then I need for you to try the rest on your own. So let's go ahead and start with number 1. So in number 1, what we always do is we start by writing A equals, B equals, and C equals. In number 1, the A is 3. A is always the number in the front. The B is -2, and the C is -5. A, B, and C are done. Now we're going to draw an X. My X puzzle will always take your A times C number, air conditioning, AC, and put it on the top. And then it will take your B number and put that on the bottom. So my A number times my C number is 3 times -5, which is the number -15. B stands for bottom, so the bottom number is -2. So to solve an X puzzle, I'm going to list all of the factors that multiply to make 15. 1 times 15, 3 times 5. So now I look at these numbers and I say, which ones could possibly be added or subtracted to make a number -2? Well, 1 and 15 will never, ever, ever be able to make a 2. That's impossible. But 3 and 5 could. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to put the negative on this side here. Take your calculator, type in -3 plus 5. See if you get the number -2. You certainly do not. So now let's put the negative on this side. In the calculator, 3 plus -5. Yep, that's the number, -2. So these are my factors. So what we do is we're going to say 3. I'm going to change these to X's just because this is still new and I don't want it to confuse you. So instead of P's, I'm going to call them X's, just so it's consistent with what you did yesterday. So the first number, 3 with an X squared. This is called splitting the middle. So instead of this middle, we're going to write the two numbers that you got from your X puzzle. There was a 3 with an X and a -5. You always put an X in the middle. So instead of this original number here, which is -2, that's the same as just saying 3 minus 5. It's called splitting the middle. Now the number in the back just gets to come down. So now we're back to factor by grouping. Factor by grouping is so easy. You're very good at this. You draw a line down the middle. What can I divide these numbers by? I can divide them both by 3. If you struggle with finding the GCF, you can use your calculator, menu, number, greatest common denominator. Okay, so a 3 can come out of both of those. They both have an X in them, at least one X. So I can take out a 3 and I can take out an X. So now what's left over? 3 divided by 3 is 1. When X's are stacked, you subtract, plus 3 divided by 3 is 1. When X's are stacked, 1 minus 1, subtract, those would be 0. Okay, I do the same thing on the other side. What can I divide these numbers by? I can divide them both by 5. But it's very important that we must take this third sign, the sign that's right here, 1, 2, third term, this first one of this side, that's a negative, so we absolutely positively have to take out a negative. So I'm going to remove a -5. So now I just divide. -5 divided by -5 is +1 with an X. -5 divided by -5 is +1. You did it correctly because these match. So when they match, you just write them. We had a 1x plus 1. What's left over? 3x minus 5. This is called factoring. It's a lot of steps, but once you do it, it's not that bad. I'll do 2 more with you, and then you'll try the rest of the front on your own. So number 2, again, A equals, B equals, C equals. A is 2, B is 3, C is -9. You draw an X. AC on the top, B on the bottom. A times C is the number -18. B stands for bottom. The bottom number is a 3. I need to figure out everything that multiplies to make 18, starting with 1. 1 times 18, don't worry about the negative yet. 2 times 9, go in order. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Try 18 divided by 3. That's the number 6. 18 cannot divide by 4. You can try it. 18 divided by 4 is not a whole number. 18 divided by 5 is not a whole number. And you already have 6 on your chart. Okay? So now I look at these numbers and I think, which ones could possibly be added or subtracted to make this 3 right here? Well, 1 and 18 will never be 3. 2 and 9 will never be 3. But 3 and 6 are 3 numbers apart, so that could be 3. So I'm going to try the negative on the left. Check it in your calculator. -3 plus 6. -3 plus 6. Yep, that makes 3. So these are the factors that we will use for the middle term. So now we rewrite the first one, 2x squared. I'm going to use x instead of n. You can use n if you want to. I'm just going to use x, make it a little bit easier. Now my middle that I'm splitting, it used to be this, but now I'm going to split it into the 2 things I got from my x puzzle. -3, put an x with it. +6, put an x with it. -9. Draw a border. GCF, easy. The biggest number that can come out of these is just 1. I can't divide those by anything but 1. They both have an x in them. So now I can divide. 2 divided by 1 is 2 with an x. That's not true. Sorry, guys. Put your GCF out first. My GCF is 1x. Now, write your leftovers. 2 divided by 1 is 2 with an x. Minus sign comes down. 3 divided by 1 is 3. X's will cancel. So my greatest common factor was 1x. That got to come out. And then I have some leftovers. So now I do the same thing with the numbers in the back. What is the greatest common factor? What can I divide a 6 and a 9 by? I can divide them by 3. I can't take an x out because this does not have an x. I can only take out a 3. You take the sign of this right here that was next to the line. That's positive. So I'm going to take out a +3. Now I write my leftovers. 6 divided by 3 is 2 with an x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. My terms matched. So my answer is 2x minus 3. And the front numbers were 1x plus 3. It's the opposite of what we did in the last chapter. 2 times 1 is 2x squared. 2 times 3 is 6x. -3 times 1 is -3x. -3 times 3 is -9. It's just the opposite of multiplying. It's called factoring. I'll do one more with you because there's a negative, and then 4, 5, and 6 are going to be really easy for you. So number 3, A, B, C. I take my A number. I multiply it times my C number. 3 times 4 is 12. B stands for bottom, so I'm putting a -8 on the bottom. Factors of 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. Which of these potentially could be manipulated to make an 8. 1 and 12 will never make 8. 3 and 4 will never make 8. What we know about the signs is that if the top is positive, the signs have to be the same. For this to be a negative 8, that's negative 2 times negative 6 would make a positive 12. But if you typed in the calculator, negative 2 plus negative 6 is the number negative 8. So I get all of my factors, and then I put my negatives in. So now I go back to my original question. 3, I'm using x squared. My middle term is a minus 2x minus 6x plus 4. You can just make these guys little x's. So now I factor by grouping. I draw a line down the middle. I take out the biggest number I can divide. The biggest number I can divide here is 1. They both have an x. I write my leftovers. 3 divided by 1 is 3 with an x. Minus 2 divided by 2. 2 divided by 1 is 2. Exponents are stacked. 1 minus 1, 0. Those x's cancel. Now, the biggest number on this side that I can divide by is a 2. Take the sign of this number. It's negative. So I need to remove a negative 2. Then divide. Use your calculator if you need to. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3 with an x. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Would you look at that? They match. Woo-wee. So we did it right. So the final answer is 3x minus 2, 1x minus 2. Factor by grouping. Go ahead and try number 4. On number 4, I'm just going to help you with the x. AC on the top, B on the bottom. My A number times my C number. Use that calculator if you need to. 5 times 12 is the number 60. B stands for bottom, so I'm putting a 19 on the bottom. Holy moly, 60 has so many factors. Let's just go in order. 1 and 60 make 60. Try dividing by 2. 2 and 30, 2 times 30 is 60. Try 3. 3 times 20 is 60. Try 4. 60 divided by 4 is 4 and 15. We could keep going, but I see 2 numbers that would add to make 19. So I'm going to stop with these factors here. 1 plus 60, not 19. 2 and 30, nope. 3 and 20, nope. Ooh, 4 and 15 add to make 19. So we're ready to split this middle. First term stays 5, I'm calling it x squared, plus 4x plus 15x plus 12. Factor by grouping. Okay, so finish number 4, then try number 5, and try number 6. Cross out 7, cross out 8. This counts as a quiz grade. Make sure that you're doing all of these questions. I need to see numbers 1 through 4 copied exactly as I have them. And then you're working the rest on your own. You can work with a partner if you need to. So you're trying 4, 5, and 6. Cross out 7 and 8. Flip to the back. On the back, I'm going to be nice and cross out 9, 11, 12, 14, 16, and 18. So on the back, you only have to do 10, 13, 15, and 17. If you finish the front and these numbers on the back, I need you to raise your hand and ask for the second factoring sheet. The second one lets you color I have a box of markers in there so you can color. So if you finish the front and the back, raise your hand, and the teacher will give you a second coloring sheet, a second factoring sheet, but this one's a little bit more fun where you get to color. Okay? So work on these. I need to see all of this work done for you to get your grade for today.